Welcome, everybody, and thanks for having me at this first virtual Geodesign Summit. That is very exciting. My name is Dominic Taroli. I lead the smart city sectors at Esri, and with me presenting today is Jason Korean, solution engineer from our smart city sectors. Now, we all know that especially our cities these days are facing massive challenges. Even before the pandemic, cities were faced with intense economic, environmental, and social stress like high costs of living and expensive rents. In many cities, rents have risen faster than incomes, while every single night, still over 500,000 people sleeping on our streets. And with the pandemic, many of us now working from home, but the reality is that we can spend up to 82 hours per year in traffic. And we are all concerned about safety. And the reality is that in cities, we are 250% more likely to be victim of a crime. And we all want smart cities, but in reality, all that glitter is not gold. Smart cities like Toronto, Masdar, Songzhou, Gujarat in India have implemented impressive technology, don't get me wrong, but they struggle to maintain a population or facing these privacy challenges, as I'm sure you're aware of. And now with the global pandemic, we see many cities are struggling. One of the most obvious aspects of the pandemic is that it transformed global cities. We see empty streets when before they were overcrowded. Our work shifted from city centers to laptops and Zoom, and the energy of city was replaced by an eerie quiet. But it also gives us the chance and opportunity to go deeper and ask ourselves, what's the real purpose of a city? Before we all went downtown to work in our offices, we went to restaurants, enjoyed concerts, attended sport events without even thinking about it, right? And now it's definitely less hectic, right? And we can work from the comfort of our home. But especially larger cities are currently losing a lot of people and also money. Many people are leaving, especially the larger cities. And we know that when large cities are losing people, small cities are experiencing strong growth based on this first cycle of urban development, as you can see on the slide. And I just recently heard from a person at Lime, the scooter company, that daytime traffic shifted from city centers into the rural neighborhood. So whatever the future might bring, I think it's fair to say that cities, but especially also smart cities, are entering a new era. Soon there will be a new post-pandemic phase where cities have to understand and define their real purpose. So therefore, the smart cities of the future are those who are connected and engaged with the people who call it home. Now, during the pandemic, a lot of things changed, but one thing is quite remarkable. Buildings are becoming data and people are becoming sensors. The pandemic has accelerated this development massively due to work from home, homeschooling, social media use, tracking, tracing, and so on. And there's this unbelievable amount of data that is produced by us daily. We create 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. That is a 2.5 followed by 18 zero every day, as you can see on these slides. And this would fill 10 million Blu-ray discs every single day, in case you're still thinking in Blu-ray disc dimensions. But even more interesting, 90% of the data in the world today has been created in the last 2 years alone. And a lot of the data is coming from cities and individual buildings. So buildings are getting digitized with CAD and BIM drawings, IoT feeds, and all kinds of the sensors to measure light, occupancy, temperature, and so on. So you might ask yourself, why is this happening just now? We know that all identified outbreaks of 3 or more cases of COVID occurred in an indoor environment, according to this study from the University of Hong Kong and Southeast University. Therefore, not only cities, but also buildings have to become much more smarter. And based on our work with ArcGIS Indoors, this holistic indoor mapping platform, we know that a lot of you are also thinking, how can I safely return back to my workplace? And as you can see on the slide, there are many ways how GIS can support you, whether it's with analyzing space assignment or it's with proximity tracing, disease monitoring, and so on. But what you can see here very clearly is that it's practically always a combination between the physical and the digital world. They play together to maximize the outcome. And I just recently heard this term, phygital, which is basically a new word creation of the words physical and digital. And we believe that in the next month and years, we will experience how the physical and digital world will come much more closer together. Just think about your current work, virtual meetings, virtual conferences, the one that we are currently in, online shopping, banking, e-government application, and also the geodesign practice. And when we deeply think about this term phygital, then we also understand the rise of the digital twins. Digital twins, how we are seeing it, are virtual representation of the real world, including physical object, processes, relationship, and behaviors. GIS and geodesign can create digital twins of the natural and built environment and uniquely integrate these many types of digital models. This can completely transform organization and cities. And while we have all seen some great example of some digital twin application, we absolutely believe the time is now right to have a deeper look at digital twin. Why, you might ask? There is now enough data, strong trend toward digitalization, and technology that are usable and ready for prime time. Now we want to show you a workflow that many of you can use out of the box and will transform your geodesign work into this new area, which is absolutely exciting for me. And for that, I hand it over to you, Jason. He's our solution engineer from the smart city sector. Jason?
Thanks, Dominic. Hey, everyone. I'm Jason Carrion. I'm a solution engineer with Esri Smart City Solutions team, and my background is in 3D GIS and urban planning. So without further ado, let's begin. To start, we're going to zoom into the city of Fullerton, California. With the statewide mandate for housing updates across California, Fullerton created a new specific plan to accommodate for the future growth of the city. This specific plan is located near an existing train station and is set to rezone the area from manufacturing and industrial to mixed use with retail, office, and even some affordable housing space uses. With ArcGIS Urban, Fullerton was able to visualize this development and also create new zoning districts to accommodate the mixed-use design. Fullerton was also able to assess the impacts from this model, making it clear to stakeholders and the public of the impacts of the developments. So, Urban can visualize the development by space use. However, how can we bring this experience to life and immerse our stakeholders and citizens into something that they can understand? With the Urban connector to ArcGIS City Engine, I can migrate my full Fullerton model into here for more downstream design by adding in facades, greenscapes, and even streetscapes. So adding in cars and trees can go a very long way into making a model look more realistic. But there's still something missing. Just a final element to make this all feel real, to bring it all together. To take that final step, I'm going to select my models here, and by using the Datasmith export in ArcGIS City Engine, I can export all of my models out to the Unreal Engine, a video game engine, where we can make the most immersive experience possible for citizens and stakeholders. As someone who spends way too much time playing video games, and even using my gaming headset to bring you my beautiful voice today, I can tell you the possibilities are endless. So originally in City Engine and Urban, movement and features like lighting were good, but limited. So you can see here, we can only really fly around models. However, in the Unreal Engine, I can first start with some dynamic lighting, like here, moving the sun to simulate lighting at noon, or, as you'll see here, in a golden hour sunset. Again, making it more realistic, more like the real world. And back to movement. What if I wanted to actually walk down the street in real time to see the new development? Somewhat like a human element to the model. In the Unreal Engine, I'm able to create a movable character, in this sense, this dapperly dressed gentleman here, and control him to run down the street. By pressing the play button, I can move into that human scale, and now begin to visually inspect each building. So here, I can get a sense of some of the materials. So for example, like the brick and the wood up top. And by moving down the street too, I can get more of an idea of what reasonable density may look like with these two stories, as you see. Also notice, if you can see the trees, that there is actual weather effects, like wind blowing through the trees. Moving down the street more, notice some of the other features, like benches, flowers in the background, tables, chairs, and even here, a coffee menu, if we get a little thirsty later. With the rise of these virtual working environments, digital twins are becoming the standard in cities across the world. Cities should leverage this easy workflow and showcase models like these to gauge public feedback and be as transparent as possible with all those involved with the planning process. So, to quickly recap what we just saw, we first started with Fullerton in ArcGIS Urban, showcasing the zoning parameters, so that led to the space use visualization and design, as well as the capacity metrics, so it's clear what the development impacts are. Then, we loaded it into ArcGIS City Engine, that same exact scenario, for more facade and streetscape design from the rule-based modeling. And finally, we created a walkthrough in the Unreal Engine, which included adding better lighting, character movement, and even led to that human-scale visualization of walking down the street. Again, in that real-life setting. And with this workflow, you'll probably get a reaction similar to this when you show this model to your stakeholders and public. Thank you guys again for joining me on this journey from ArcGIS Urban to the Unreal Engine. I really hope you guys will leverage this in your workflows for your upcoming projects, because I think this is really, really cool. And with that said, I'm going to throw it back over to you, Dominic.
Thank you very much, Jason. Absolutely fascinating, and this will definitely transform your work as well. And you can start today with this straightforward workflow from ArcGIS Urban, City Engine, and Unreal Engine to create this beautiful digital twin. But when we think about digital twin, it's much more than just this visual eye candy. Here are the three main problems that a digital twin addresses. A digital twin can be used to archive a state in time of a specific asset or system. Just think about the reality capture of a city as a 3D snapshot of the real world. Second is performance monitoring. So many digital twins are using the twin as an actual dashboard showing the current performance. And one of the biggest benefits that a GIS can bring to the digital twin is that a GIS can store, stream, and provide a dynamic experience to explore 3D assets, for example, a building or even a whole city, and all in the context of the built and natural world around the assets. And then lastly, testing or predicting future performance, as Jason just showed in his demonstration. And again, especially in the last years, Esri has invested dramatically to improve capability that can turn a GIS into the ideal technology for digital twins. And you can see here two 3D base map. One is future-based and the other is mesh-based. Esri has released machine learning solution or deep learning that can capture and model reality. And this will transform the way we plan and design our cities. And many of our customers are already exploring the art of the possible. And allow me to show you some highlights. This first one is from our great partner, Housel Levine, for the town of Morrisville. This is a community in North Carolina's Research Triangle. And the development of the town center had been a major point of contention for nearly 15 years. Town officials then engaged Housel Levine to prepare an immersive 3D model of two town center development scenarios. And to develop the models, the team at House Levine basically followed the same workflow Jason just showed you earlier. And doesn't it look just great? And even better, and this is one of the unofficial comments, but they call it basically the best money that the town has ever spent since they found an unanimous solution or decision for the development of the town center. So the digital twin basically helped here to a happy end. Another great example is the city of Seattle, that with the boom of Amazon, Microsoft, and the many internet and healthcare companies that call the Seattle area home. The city has added over 130,000 new residents since 2010 and was the last decade's fastest growing US city. The city has used ArcGIS Urban to really understand where they are now according to the latest forecast, and then also to better communicate and visualize the growth to citizens, which the city considered mission critical according to Jennifer Pettichon, the senior planner of Seattle. And finally, one of my favorite examples is the city of Gothenburg, which is the second largest city in Sweden. And you can see here already this beautiful picture of their digital twin, which is based on this workflow. Again, it's from City Engine into Unreal. And again, it's almost the same workflow as Jason just showed you before. And the level of details that you can achieve with this workflow is just amazing. And here you can compare it on the slide. On the left side, you have the real picture, and on the right side, the digital twin. The three main use cases for Gothenburgs are first to understand the city and its function on the picture of the top. And based on the picture, you can see that the foundation of this digital twin is GIS. Second is to predict and test outcomes of this uncertain future, like you can see here with this super realistic flooding example. And then third is to interact and control important services like traffic flow of the city in real time. And I'm sure I don't exaggerate when we state that digital twins are a win for geodesign. And again, it's about solving problems and connecting with the citizen to find out what is the real purpose of the city. And based on our work from all over the globe, we know that the smart cities of the future are those who are engaged and connect with the people who call it home. Now, where to start? You can either connect directly with Jason or myself, or we create an exclusive folder just for you with all the resources from the presentation, and you can find it on bit.ly/GDS2021. Thank you very much.